So Diana, day 10 in Tasmania.
Day 10 in Tasmania.
What are you thinking about today?
I'm thinking it's a very peaceful. We did just have another car arrive, but generally, if you come to Tasmania, you have the whole place to yourself, especially at this time of the year. Yeah, it's been a very unconfronting. If you're a Kiwi, Tasmania is just basically the same, but yeah, its own brand of biodiversity and flora and fauna. But I do find the Tasmanians incredibly similar to the South Islanders, kind of relaxed, don't have too much to prove, salt of the earth types. Interesting phenomenon, completely unrelated to anything. They seem to like to sit on your tail when you're driving and not pass. That's like a thing. Personal space when in following distance doesn't seem to be a thing in Tasmania. Any other questions, my love? Don't stop it. Oh, okay, do stop it.
What's been your highlight?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. Is it still recording? Oh, okay. Highlights. Goodness gracious, there's so many. The platypuses, which aren't platypi. Apparently you do call them platypuses. So we learned all about puggles and paddles. So it's a paddle of puggles. Or a puddle of puggles. A group of platypuses together are called a paddle, which is cute. What else? They're very buoyant. They're very strange creatures. They have electromagnetic sensory in that beak of theirs, and they go bada, 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 and they're just always moving. They're like little ADD-licious sort of magical creatures. There were so many highlights. The food wasn't what we were expecting, but then when we just got back from Thailand, and the juxtaposition there, Thai culinary culture is considered to be the fourth most impressive on earth at the moment, and what Tasmania thrives at is unpretentious local ingredients, and when you embrace that, then you have a really enjoyable culinary experience, which we neglected to do at first because we were still kind of stuck in the expecting everything morsel that we put in our mouths to be a magical experience, because that's kind of what happens when you're eating in Thailand, even if you're not feeling particularly your best, as we were not. The people have been lovely, gentle, unhurried, unpretentious. The weather has been really good for us. Today's overcast. There was a lot of rain up in Cradle Mountain, which apparently is what Cradle Mountain does, is it rains on tourists. What else was a highlight? Spending time with my husband, of course. We're going to spend the whole year trying to have the perfect honeymoon. We have several planned. We're going to get it right. This one was slightly more successful than our Southeast Asian trip, because you're not at any clear and present danger of contracting a bacterial infection with the food and the water. So, oh gosh, there were so many. We learned a lot. We learned about native bush ingredients. We learned, every time we come to Australia, we're going to have to find out what the Aboriginal name is for Australian and Torres Strait areas. But every time we come here, we learn more about Aboriginal society and history, and it's beautiful. Like, harrowing to think about what they've been through, but just literally a culture and history that borders on the magical. It's amazing what Aboriginal people accomplished 30,000 years ago in their societies, peace and nomadic and diversity in language and culture and an exchange of ideas. They were having meetings at Hanging Rock 26,000 years ago. Various tribes would get together. That's That's always a highlight of Australia, and it's always painful to think about the plight of Aboriginal people even today. Just the omnipresent and inarguable racism is it's confronting, and the amount that we have to learn from this amazing heritage is, and the amount that was destroyed through history. Yeah, that's enough about that. What else was the highlights? There's so many highlights.
How was your birthday?
Oh, my birthday was lovely. We went on a walk in the rain because, as my Buddhist husband would happily keep reminding me, suffering is a gift. And we suffered a little because it was wet and cold, but lovely. Yeah, I had a great birthday. I'm 45 now, and we've had a lot of time, just the two of us, without too many distractions. Unfortunately, we're still running several businesses, or involved in several businesses. Hey, they did go for a swim, babe. You're gonna do after this? Okay.
Go well after this, that's all.
Yeah. Damon's gonna do his obligatory skinny dipping in the Southern Ocean, which is a thing that we do. We don't record that, but we do it. My birthday was amazing. We have been busy with the farm and the two other businesses, which you may or may not recognize as ChargeNet and Serato, because they still exist and need some love and guidance as well. But we have been researching as fellow tourism industry hosts and professionals, and we've learned a lot. We know that we don't want to go big. We know that we want to provide a very unique and private and intimate experience to our guests. So we're just discussing the best ways to do that. And we're also, when you have a birthday, it's a time of reflection and, you know, like doing some strategy work and some shadow work on what you want and what you're planning on doing. Also, we're getting old, like seriously old. Like, we're looking at people 10 years younger than us and going, oh, wow, they're old. But they're younger than us. So we're officially at that middle-aged zone in our lives where we forgot that we turned into middle-aged people, but we definitely have. And that's okay. Very, very, very fortunate to have met each other when and how we did, and have somebody so aligned in values and sense of adventure, and just even our likes and our dislikes. We get to travel the world for the next 20 years or so, while we're healthy enough to do so, and doing stuff that we both want to do, and meeting people and learning things that are relevant to us. Lots of crows. They have kind of an obnoxious rah, 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 but I'm quite fond of them. They're amazingly cheeky. They bounce across the road and you feel like you're just going to hit them, but you never do. They're great creatures. I'm surprised we don't have any introduced in New Zealand. We do have plenty of magpies though. That was fairly tangential. Anything else?
Some sad news last night. What's that got you thinking about?
Oh yeah. So we were driving and we got the news at the same time as it broke. Like it came. Well, I mean, it traveled around the world, particularly the Antipodes. I think Australia and New Zealand. Jacques from MasterChef, who a lot of our friends say has always reminded them of Damon. They had that kind of silver fox, gentle, vulnerable Buddhist vibe. Our minds, after we've struggled with anxiety and depression and had to do a lot of shadow work in the last few years, our minds automatically, when we heard about a sudden death, thought perhaps he had instigated that himself. We don't know, but whatever. When somebody who's been in your living room and in your life for years, who you look up to because they clearly share a lot of the values and behaviors that you find relatable and inspiring. When they're taken suddenly, when they're there one minute and then they're not. The premiere has been advertised just relentlessly throughout Tasmania and Australia, and it should have been Monday, but that was he passed away 2 a.m. Monday morning, so they had to pull that, and everybody's just scrambling. What it did is it was very triggering, and it reawakened some trauma of our own, not just mine, but my husband's darker journeys as well. And it's brought a lot of people together, and it's very sad. And I had a terrible, confronting nightmare about a demon trying to possess me in the Airbnb that we were in, and I was like, no. So yeah, you can't just shake off feelings of anxiety and depression, and when you're faced with a loss, which they've been fairly consistently placed in our vision, direct and peripheral. It was confronting, and it's very, very sad. And it's also made me realize how incredibly blessed I feel to be where I'm at. And I think it makes people uncomfortable, but every day is a gift, because I just don't want to be dead all the time. And that was literally the operating procedure for so many years, was survival mode and just trying to scrape together enough validation to feel like I could be on this planet, and I don't feel that way anymore, and I don't know how to communicate that to other women, well, people, not just women, but I mean, I'm a woman. So I think that there are a lot of women in their 30s and younger struggling the way that I did, and if there was some way to tell them to give less fucks, I would. And I would, I want that to be part of whatever it is that Damon and I do together over the next few years, is to really encourage goddesses that I know or that I don't know, that somehow stumble across our creative content, to embrace their embrace their boundaries, and protect themselves, and know that they're worth far more than society and possibly their friends and partners give them credit for. Surround yourself with decent, intelligent, good people who want to see you thrive. Do not continue to give the best of you to people who don't deserve it.
What are you looking forward to then, finally?
Well, we gotta get home, and it's a double whammy, because I'm both looking forward to it and I'm quite overwhelmed and terrified, because we have so much work to do. So the plan's no secret. I've been advertising it across LinkedIn and social media, and talking about it with friends and colleagues. The strategy when we get home is we're going to open up. We're going to basically double down on our capacity on the farm, because it has been a raging and enjoyable success. It's also come with its challenges, and we've had 2 terrible weeks of other providers letting us down. The electricity, the installation that we paid for, and had arranged months ago for a generator to get us through the winter where there's not so much sunlight for the off-grid. It just didn't work, and it's created unhappy guests, but we can't just cancel bookings. The internet simply hasn't worked, so we have to get home. What this last 2 trips has taught us is that we are not currently in a position, because we made a very conscious effort to start a brand new endeavor and journey. We cannot not be around to nurture that business. And yeah, we got some stuff to do. There's the crows. I quite like them, what I'm looking forward to is getting stuck in, figuring out how we're gonna make our move back to Canada, and what that looks like. So we really, the future's wide open for us, and I'm looking forward to navigating that with my very patient and fairly good-looking silver fox of a husband, and some of our very best friends who know who they are, and most of them don't like to have too much attention showered on them, which is interesting because they chose me as a friend, and I'm sort of unable to avoid the spotlight no matter how hard I try. So we're looking forward to the future. We're looking forward to a future that allows us to do meaningful and impactful and creative things, and share the stuff that we love. Our sort of modus operandi, or would it be our catchphrase, our soundbite, is we want to spend the next part of our life, the next chapter of our life, delighting people, empowering people to do good things for themselves and the planet, and feel good about it, and not feel guilty or angry. Carrots, not sticks, and joy, not fear. That's what I'm looking forward to, is being in a position to bring that to people directly at the farm and through whatever content we share, I guess. And we're both pretty good at writing. We need to do more of that. We are very good at it. So, humility, not my strong point. But yeah, we want to do more writing. I think that's probably more than enough.